need a new code. I had spoken to someone who was very savvy in this regard. They said that as a town board, we needed an advisor to do this, that if we drew up our own ethics code, any of us could be a finger pointed at us that we were creating a code that would benefit one of us and not others, not other of the members. So we sent out an RFP, and it had no takers. So I want to send out a new RFP for basically the same RFP that we had sent out that would be seeking someone to come in to help us develop an ethics code. Back in June of 2010, we had circulated some ethics codes. We can certainly plumb parts of these ethics codes, but once again, I was warned that if we do that and create our own code, that we could end up with a problem later on. So I would like to send out another RFP. I don't believe that we need to do this at a regular meeting, a regular voting meeting, so that's why I brought that up. And as far as the Board of Ethics appointment, I do know someone who is interested in sitting on the Ethics Board. Since I have become a council member, I am no longer on the Ethics Board for the town of Southeast. It has been suggested when I brought this up from Council Member Yee that he would step in to become a member of the Ethics Board. And at this point, what I would suggest is that we have an outside person. We have certainly talked about this enough. We've invited people during our telecasts to come forward. I did have someone who came forward to me who's an attorney I know, thankfully unaffiliated politically, who would like to become a member of the Ethics Committee. And I'd like to offer her name this evening, and her name is Susan Kaplan. She's lived in Reed Farm for some time now and is interested in becoming more active in our town, specifically on the Ethics Committee. So I'm going to recommend her name so that we can start getting the...
But you have to vote on it.
Exactly.
We can't vote tonight.
No,
So
we can't
week.
vote. It's just recommending her name as a person to fill the vacancy. And then I would ask that the town clerk put this matter on the agenda for the regular meeting so that we can have a vote on it, and I will have her come in and speak to us, and so that we can start getting our ethics board moving again. So I'm hoping that we can get the RFP out as promptly as possible and use the same RFP that we had before. It's a different time period. It might have been simply that it was the summertime and there weren't a lot of people looking in the newspapers, but I believe it's essential that we start up this ethics code review again, and to make sure that it is something that's a working, living document in our town.
Can I make a suggestion then? Since we do have an ethics committee here in the town of Southeast, Ms. Hudak? Yes?
Well, you certainly should know because you had volunteered to be a
All right,
part of it
then, all
back
right.
in May or June, as I recall.
It's 30 years old.
Go ahead.
All right, so we do have an ethics committee here in the town of Southeast, and it is chaired by our town clerk, who is here this evening. Why don't we propose for the ethics committee to at least revamp the ethics codes here instead of just idly sitting by, and I don't even know what they're doing at this point, because apparently I was brought up on ethics charges. I don't know why, but in the years that this town board has existed, I don't know if anyone has ever been brought up on ethics charges other than me and the supervisor, but, you know, that's a political game that we have to play here. But if we do have an ethics committee, why don't we task them with that assignment? Instead of spending $200 an hour on an attorney or whatever it costs to do so, if we have a committee, that's their function, have them revamp it, have them propose it to the town board, and then we can move forward from there.
No, because what we
Thanks,
need
Mike.
is, we need a very good
I too would
document.
like to speak on this.
We
You've spoken already,
we
Liz.
need, no, I was
I
being
too would
asked,
like
I was
to
being
speak
asked
on
a
this.
question, why do we need it?
Then
And we need it
you may
because
continue.
we need a document that is a strong document, not a document that, a strong, knowledgeable document. This isn't something that people who are unfamiliar with ethical codes can simply look at a bunch of ethics codes and plumb one piece or the other. You know, what we really need is to do it right. And the only way to do it right, and the only way to instill confidence in the document, is to have someone who knows what they're doing create such a document. And it is worth the money. And it's worth the money, even though I don't know whether we can undertake it during this year. But what I do know is that it's something that we need to undertake. And we can't have 4 or 5 committee members who are unfamiliar with these kinds of documents created. And then, after they create it, that we can have another round of accusations that the document was created with specificity to accuse one or the other of a council member,
There's
or to
accounting.
or to give somebody, cut somebody a break. We need to do it right. That's the problem with the town. We seem to cut corners, and then when we cut the wrong corner, then somebody criticizes us. This is not to cut corners. This is an important matter. And by the way, when I sat on the Ethics Committee, there were other people who were brought before the Ethics Committee, not only Councilmember Yee. So I want to set that straight for the record.
Well, the county already has an existing Board of Ethics. The county has jurisdiction, and there's no need when we're struggling to find funding for the library, for the museum, for the Humane Society, and for other valued programs in Southeast to take money away from those important, treasured assets and divert it to, to a board which has in my mind, a questionable goal in mind, like Councilman Yee referred to. So this is not the year to undertake, after 40 years of inaction with respect to a revision of the Code of Ethics, dates from 1970, what's the rush this year? Well, I think we kind of all know what the rush is this year, and that's why it's a better idea to leave it with the county.
It doesn't
Yes, sir.
surprise me.
Michael,
Doesn't surprise
wait,
me.
Michael, may I say
Pardon
something?
me.
You're talking about Board of
Councilman-
Ethics, and I
Councilman
am
Bach,
chairman.
as the
Thank
chair.
you, thank you.
Has the,
As
floor.
chairman, we don't ask the Zoning Board of Appeals, their chairman and their board members to write our zoning law, nor should we. I take notice that the way Mr. Wright spoke, that he's basically accusing me of being unethical. I was put as chairman because of my ethics. As chairman and as a board member for that, which is a volunteer organization, nobody gets paid. And we don't know what happened 40 years ago, but because there's nobody here who was on the Board of Ethics 40 years ago. I would prefer that somebody who has legal background and knows what they're doing give us a law that we could follow. As to the county being in charge of us, that's absolutely wrong. If there's something where we can't address it because of our Board of Ethics and we voted against it, then we can go to the county, but they certainly do not oversee us. We are a separate board. We are appointed by the town board, and that's just the way it is.
Mr. Bach, would you like to comment?
Well, that's one of the items which I'm interested in. And my question is, why do we need a separate ethics board in the town of Southeast? I believe the community would be much better served if we have a resolution that town of Southeast adopt the county's ethic laws or ethic procedures or whatever we want to call it, and any action when some unethical thing happens in the town of Southeast, we refer to the Putnam County. That way, we will assure, addressing one of the comments somebody made that you don't want to be accused of da-da-da-da-da, we go to the county. Nobody can be accused of anything. Putnam County is a totally independent, fair organization, no monkey business, and we eliminate one set of works. Why not? That's the problem in the country. We have these duplicate things. We don't need to do that. We don't need to spend any money and get a real, truly independent judgment by using the Putnam County.
Just to
Why
answer your
can't we-
question,
Thank you, Mr.
I
Bach.
did contact the County Board of Ethics. They will not respond to anything in our town. This is our town, and just to let you know who comprises, as it was last year, because Ms. Hudak's not there anymore, but last year we had one attorney, 2 residents, 1 elected official, and 1 clergyman. So it is put in the local law that it has to be with those certain people on it. And we do suggest, of course, a clergyman, because nobody is hopefully, Nobody is going to accuse him of being unethical. But I have contacted, because we had various issues last year, I did contact the Board of Ethics in the county, and they did not want to hear our issues because we are a town. Just to let
And I'd
you
just
know.
like to say
Okay, let's
that
move on.
Section 806 of the General Municipal Law requires every municipality to adopt a code of ethics, setting forth the standards of conduct reasonably expected of its officers and employees. So we have a state law
We
that
have
says
that.
we need it, and at this point, what we need is an effective one, just so that you know, Mr. Bach, because I believe that, what you're saying is well taken, because what you would like to do is to see if you can minimize expenses, but this isn't minimizing expenses, and, I think, particularly, it's particularly important that we have an ethics code that is workable and that we can implement when necessary. And it's not only just us up here that is subject to ethics codes, it's offices, it's all of the towns. And I think it's important. And sometimes, it's curious when people question, it's at least curious to me when people question the necessity of having an ethics code.
Can I just
It's not a question of,
Right.
I didn't raise a question of,
It's
do
not
we
you,
need an
my
ethic
friend,
code or
not you, Mr. Bach.
Okay.
Absolutely not you.
Well, my
Liz,
suggestion
Liz,
was
please
that
let him
perhaps
speak.
we can adapt. Just go to the Putnam County Ethics Code. If it is good, we adapt it. It's done. Cost us nothing.
Yeah, except that the Section 806 of the General Municipal Law requires us to have the town to have our own ethics code.
He just suggested
Just said
that
that,
we
thank you.
adopted the counties.
Right, thank you, Mr. Right.
But the problem, Bob, would be if we were to adopt the counties, then there wouldn't be a chance for some person in the, attorney sphere to experience a paycheck. I mean, and the larger context is
You're an
that
attorney.
when every time the garbage contract comes up, the ethics board is raised at the same meeting. There's a real pattern.
I haven't said it
It's
since
not what we
June,
need in town.
since June and July. But
I
the
think one
garbage
of the,
thing comes up every single meeting.
So when we talk about ethics and going forward, we have an ethics committee now, so you're telling me it's broken, you served on it, it's broken, the town clerk serves on it, it's broken,
It's
it's
not
not
broken.
working, so we now need to revamp the whole ethics committee. And yet you go ahead and you introduce someone to be on the ethics board despite the fact that it's broken. I think the pattern here is, what is the pattern, Ms. Hudak? Do you want to just fill the seats and then have an ethics committee
broken.
to rule on what? And I find it odd that this ethics violations and ethics committee seems to be going nowhere other than just bringing it out and possibly pinpointing a few members of the town board as having ethical violations.
Well, let me
So
tell
what
you,
I'm concerned.
I haven't talked
See,
in
no,
a while, Dwight.
Well, let me finish
All
that.
right, you interrupted me before, but go ahead. Go ahead, finish.
Go ahead, Councilman Gay.
Sorry, Bob. I didn't mean to interrupt you before, if I did.
And then Councilman Cullen.
So, a Board of Ethics, we have the chairperson here this evening, has not introduced or said what is broken with it. We now have a former Ethics Board person here who's now introducing someone else on the Ethics Committee, and yet they still want to revamp this whole thing for $200 an hour for an attorney to do. I find it very odd. Thank you.
Doesn't
Councilman
surprise
Cullen.
me you find it odd, I never
Pardon
said
me,
it was
Councilman
broken.
Cullen has the floor.
Chairman, I
First
say
of all,
it's
then has
not
the floor.
broken.
The
It needs
the
to be
ethics board
revamped.
is volunteers. It doesn't cost anything to have the board. To get this, it's not going to be hours and hours of work, I don't believe, to draw up a code. But I think we need one tailored for the town of Southeast. If there's something that the county has, which I haven't seen, if it could work with us, maybe we can adopt some of their standards.
So
But
that's-
some of the concerns I do have, though, and this is kind of why it's coming to the floor now, is there was a resolution passed by the town board in the past about filming political commercials and stuff on town property. Apparently, it's still going on or has gone. That's something I'm concerned about. Another concern I have is when Supervisor Wrights is not in his office and Nancy is not in his office, you have a sign telling people that you're at a luncheon, usually, and also, if anyone wants to find out anything about town matters, to go to your political website. Now, when you go to your political website, the first thing it has is a page to say to contribute. Now, I think, and I thought when I was working in Eastchester, that it's illegal to try to solicit campaign contributions in public property.
Bob, thanks for bringing that to my
So
attention.
that's something that I am
I'll
very
remove that
concerned about.
tomorrow. I don't concede anything, but I understand your point. I wish you had raised that to me privately.